Merry New Year.
Hey,
I
it,
don't. It's what?
it's clobbering time.
It
No,
is
it's
clobbering.
2026. We made it.
We did make it.
I look like a ghost. I am still alive. I just look a little ghostly. Welcome to the first episode of the new year here at the Legends Clubhouse. I am Bobby Kaboose, as always, through my camera, down I-75, through that camera, through that screen, in that nasty ass room with that nasty ass souvenir cup is my co-host Lawson Turner. What's going on, man?
What up? We
Nothing.
20.
Last show or no, I'm sorry, we did the Leafies the last year. Congratulations on everyone who won a 2025 Leafy. But the show prior, I was telling our audience and the world on how much you suck as a co-host, and I wasn't doing the show after this year. But you know what? My contract got renewed, and here I am.
Yeah, you're stuck with me whether you like it or not. But we're here in the Big 2-6, and it's still crazy to think about. Huh? You said 2-6?
Yeah, it doesn't work that way, I guess.
Nah. But it was. New Year's was exciting. And what'd you do for New Year's?
So, New Year's Eve, we watched some football. We watched the Michigan Wolverines lose against Arch Manning and I almost said Texas Rangers, the Texas Longhorns. So that was our appetizer to the night. We ended up staying at the girlfriend's house, just staying in low key, playing board games, watching the Stranger Things finale and just taking it easy.
Hmm.
I think I was probably asleep by 12:45. The girlfriend was asleep probably by 1:15. Um, Woke up yesterday not hungover. I think for the first time in probably 17 years. Um, which felt good, it felt good,
Right.
not having to, but there is something about being, hungover on New Year's Day and just sitting in bed and watching football and movies and stuff. But hey, we were actually able to do stuff yesterday, even though we kind of took it easy anyway. But I just didn't have a headache and I didn't have the sweats. So,
Hmm.
what did you do?
Me and some friends hung out, watched football. We watched Miami completely dismantle Ohio State, which was amazing. And that's basically all we did. And we stayed up till midnight because that's just tradition. You got to at least stay up for the ball drop. And it was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. And then we all went our separate ways a little after midnight, but it was still really enjoyable to spend with friends and all just hang out. It was a good time.
So, are you caught up? Did you watch the Stranger Things finale like the rest of the world?
I did.
All right, let's talk Stranger Things, man, because we watched it. We were like the rest of the world. When season 5 was announced and they announced the days that the episodes were gonna release, we were all waiting for chapter 8. And we were waiting for the whole season. Obviously to see how it would wrap up and the hype behind it, who was gonna die, who was gonna survive, what twists and turns. And we felt like, we threw this big party and we're in this ballroom, this epic ballroom, maybe even a White House-esque Trump revamped ballroom, waiting for our guest of honor to show up. And what did they do? They walked into the room, everyone applauded, it got silent, they ripped ass and just left. That's how we felt about the finale of Stranger Things. I think it fell flat on its face. I hated it. Like, I mean, I didn't hate it. I guess I don't know. I expected so much more. Did not get it. Was very disappointed. How are your feelings about it?
The fact that and I understand and I understand that the characters are like based on like like kids per se.
Yeah.
However, we go this entire show and not one main character gets whacked.
Right.
Like that's
Bob, my boy Bob got whacked.
that
You
is
know,
true. Bob did get whacked, but
her,
my
but no one fucking talks about her again.
yeah, and she got ate up in like season 1.
Yeah.
M- my big thing, and I'm more of a I love the shock factor. Like I love going into shows and like within the first two episodes, a main character gets whacked, and I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, so the show doesn't care. But the fact that we go the entirety of the show and not a genuine main core character gets pieced up, I'm just like, okay, well that's just disappointing.
Yeah.
Um, because leading up to it and with the last episode, I'm like, okay, someone's gonna get whacked.
Mhm.
Whether it be, a super twist, and maybe 11 being the one that, like, they do all this and then they fail and you lose.
Mhm.
That that would have been really interesting, but the fact that, it all came down to an axe, that was just kind of
Yeah.
weak.
So a couple things. I think everyone like I was gonna say everyone and their mothers, but my mother is no longer with us. So everyone and their dead mothers knew that fucking 11 wasn't gonna make it out. Um, no, I kind of knew, or I would think people would know that anyone with superpowers wasn't gonna make it out. The fact that they had the military involved, or whatever agency that is, kind of proved that point, and I think that was a cop out. I didn't like the military aspect at all. I thought it should have been something supernatural that they were, fighting against, which they kind of were, but it was, an agency that created this entire thing.
Mm,
I thought they had a great opportunity for him to die. That would have put more hurt and more empathy and sympathy for Dustin's character, because he had already lost Eddie. Now he loses his other, quote unquote best friend. I think that would have been perfect. Steve is he was a more of a rebellious kid, and stereotypically, those type of characters usually die in a movie or a series, so I would have been okay with that. I'm okay with him living, because those two are my favorite dynamic, Dustin and Steve. But
mm,
the way that Vecna seemed like so weak in the finale, like, I mean, for him to die that easily with no real, um, danger of him taking over the world or anything. I thought that was stupid. He was getting weaker towards, walking towards the cave, but you're telling me he was so weak that he couldn't outstrength a little fat kid? We all love dipshit Derek. Oh, I'm sorry, delightful Derek. We all love him, but you think he can drag Holly back into the cave and he's got more strength than this dude with supernatural powers? Not really sure. Um, I brought this up to the girlfriend. I would have loved if Vecna ended up controlling Will, and say Will grabs Mike by the throat and he's choking him up against the wall, and 11 comes in with the save, killing Will, saving Mike, and then when she kills Vecna, the black shit releases from Will's mouth and we find out he's alive. I think that would have been a perfect ending if you didn't want to kill off your characters.
mm,
But for the fact that Murray didn't die, Hopper didn't die, Joyce didn't die, Jonathan and Nancy didn't die, and they were just like, the thing just stopped. And they're like, oh, okay. After we had this emotional, I love you, but I don't know if we're right for each other, blah, blah, blah. I even bought you a ring. This weird ooze is coming, and then it just stops, and it's solid. And it's not like quicksand, and it's not like this and that, and they can just climb out. That's cool. Like, I feel like, I feel like a lot of things were just copped out, and for the fact that we waited 2 years for the season, 9 years in total, and this is how it ends. And like, we were promised an emotional ending. If you call that, 11 going into Mike's mind or whatever, telling her, or telling him that she loves him, and then we get these still shots of Mike's awkward face with the military while she's, in this weird blender of shit blender slash tornado thing going around her, and we still get awkward shot of Mike screaming, and I think he looks like an ostrich anyway, but that's not the point. Like, if you take anyone that's kicking and screaming or crying profusely, or I don't even know if that's the word or if that just goes with sweat, but if you're crying and sobbing, if someone takes a picture of you, it's not going to be flattering. So that's what I mean of these awkward still shots of Mike. What happened? What happened after 11 closed the fucking thing? Why did the military let these people go? If Lawson Turner knew all this information that they didn't want to get leaked out, don't you think you would either be in a cell somewhere or executed, probably mafia style? Like, they're not gonna just let you go and be like, oh yeah, you can go out into the free world and tell everyone that we opened this portal to another dimension or another world, and we had this guy named Vecna that tried to kill a bunch of people, and we were doing experiments on kids. Like, really?
Yeah, it's just.
It just, there's so much loose ends that aren't tied. I think I would even been happier if Vecna would have killed all of them and destroyed Earth. And that's how the series ends. The Duffer Brothers already said they were coming out with a spinoff. It has nothing to do with Hawkins. It's new characters. Like, that's fine. Like that, and I also heard there's going to be a spinoff with Nancy and Robin, but it takes place between season 4 and 5. Again, fine. This world that you're in, this universe, doesn't have to exist after episode 8 because you're not going to do anything after. You're not going to have a sequel. You could have a spinoff, but you're not going to have a sequel. You can end it any way you want. And for the fact that they took the easy way out and tried to please everyone by having everyone survive, oh, let's play one more Dungeons and Dragons game. Oh, whatever her character is, we believe that she's in a far land with a small town. And by the way, he said a land with 3 waterfalls. When she's looking out there, there's only 2. So, Mike, you fucked up. You didn't even tell the right story as the storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't believe that. I believe 11 is dead. I don't think she's in Ireland or wherever the fuck they put her. Like, if that was the case, I know the military's still after her, but wouldn't she have a little bit of contact with Mike and be like, hey, why don't you come to this small town with me? We can be together. Since I love you, we can be on the run together. I'm sure Mike would do that because we saw throughout the series that he kind of would do anything for her. Like, I don't know, man. I just thought it was very disappointing.
Yeah, to me it was. Now I'm not a day one watcher. Me and my buddy we binged it when not the last season but the season prior came out, and I was like, okay, this shit could be lit. Let's see how it wraps up. And I don't know.
I am not a day one. Not to interrupt, but I'm not a day one watcher either. I started watching back in like September of this year or last year. So. About 6 months ago or whatever, how many months that was, that's when I started season 1 and got, so I'm not a day one watcher either.
Yeah, and I feel like certain, not saying that, we can't gripe on it, but like example, the way, good example, how Game of Thrones ended and everybody was like, like, I accepted it, immediately, like, it is what it is. My mom, who was a day one watcher, she was like, man, this show I was so hyped up. They could have done this, because I was invested for so long. So, I don't know if my thought process is, I cannot agree with some of the directions in which certain shows go. I also, part of me acknowledge that, it is what it is, and however they saw fit, I would have done it differently. But like,
what would you have done? What would you have done instead of what they did? How would your version be different?
My version that would have been different. I would have at least pieced off 2 main characters, whether it be Will, huh?
I was gonna say anyone's in particular, or
Like maybe it's me wanting the more shock factor, but none of it was like shocking. I was like, oh, okay, well that happened and that happened because of course it did, and everybody wins, so everybody goes home happy.
Right.
I don't know. I like a little bit, not leaving or ending a show sour, but I'm like, damn, I wish they could have made it.
Right. And we were promised, first of all, you turn on TV anywhere, you were seeing Stranger Thing commercials.
Hmm.
So you see the commercials, you know I'm sure your Instagram feed, like mine, was flooded with theories, actor quotes, things like, oh, it's gonna be a tearjerker. Make sure you get a bunch of Kleenex. We don't know who's gonna survive and not. All this shit, all this hype and anticipation. I think without that, if there was no social media and there was, no intertwining these commercials like, oh, I want a bucket of chicken from KFC, but hey, there's fucking Vecna's hand coming out. Oh my God, or whatever commercial, or
Right.
Nancy talking on T-Mobile about her plan in the 80s. Okay, you want to do that, that's fine, but like I think expectations get they rise a lot, and they have a higher ceiling when you put your show intertwined with all these commercials that has nothing to do with it, and you're promoting it so much that I think you need a more dramatic ending. I think like now I feel like the whole climax of season 5 was Will telling his friends he was gay. Like, again, got no issue with that, but and especially I give a little bit of leeway because it's placed in the 80s, and being gay wasn't as it wasn't as accepted as it is now,
Right.
if accepted at all. So I understand that's a pivotal point, but like, again, you're getting the woke crowd with having to have a gay character and having to represent every type of people, and then for that to be almost the emotional climax of the whole season. It's like, okay, Vecna's coming after you because you're gay, and like you're afraid to tell your friends because you won't have friends anymore. Like, that to me, that it was just it was weak. Like, it should have been something else. Um, because at that point, why didn't he take Robin? Robin's a lesbian. Like, why? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Um, and just, again, like, everyone knew 11 was gonna die, and then to have the interpretation at the end, well, is she dead, or is she, in a faraway land? No, she's dead, dude. Like, just end the fucking series. Like, there's, like I said, there's nothing after. So what would be the backlash of making the ending fucking crazy instead of going the safe route? I think Stranger Things is a great series. I'm not taking anything away with it. But there are great series like Breaking Bad, The Wire, Sopranos, Game of Thrones. You know, add some if
Insert,
you want
yeah.
to, insert whatever. And Stranger Things is right with that. I think with a better ending, Stranger Things could have went from a really good series to an elite series.
Yeah.
And instead of doing that, instead of separating themselves from the ones that I just mentioned, they are just kind of inserted into the pack.
Yeah, to the point to where if there was more, because I didn't feel like when I was like, I compared the first four seasons and all the way up until like the last 2 episodes. Whenever me and my buddy, when we were watching it, I said the show is two parallel lines. Nothing's touching, and there were certain times throughout the show where I'm like, not to say that I haven't been paying attention because I've been watching, what the fuck is going, like, none of these are connecting, and then the last 2 episodes of season 4, like the parallel lines intersected, and I was like, oh, everything connects
Yeah.
now. And then so fucking I was expecting, now that everything's intersecting, now is when there's gonna be fireworks and random deaths and this, that, and the third, and everything's on the table, and it's no, everyone's gonna be safe, and we have plot armor to make sure it happens.
Yeah, and I was expecting I was expecting like deaths and twists and turns throughout the whole season.
Yeah,
Like I thought season 5 was gonna be like, okay, we might lose Lucas in the first fucking episode, or name, your main
and then
character.
it's a one-on-one at the end.
Yeah, and it didn't happen. They, like I said, I think they went with an ultra or ultimate conservative and safe route. They didn't want to piss people off, and I think they pissed people off like myself for not wanting to piss people off. Like it's like, you know, it's a storybook ending almost, and it's like you don't always need that.
No.
Like, and like I said, I think Vecna was taken care of way too easily. The whole mind flare or whatever that fucking spider thing is, that went down way too easy. Like I was just like there like no one except for Nancy and Jonathan with the goop and then Nancy being cornered by it. There was no real threat. And it's like, this you're telling me this giant spider thing can't fucking kill 6 kids?
I don't.
Like
It,
I don't
it almost seemed as if everything was toned down.
know. Yeah.
Like,
It was almost like they ran out of time and they're like, well, we got to just wrap shit up.
yeah, in which I'm sure Netflix would have cut a bigger check for, or as big of a check if you wanted to extend it, or however
Mhm.
they wanted to do it. And it's like, damn, that's the ending.
Yeah, because even one of our writers over at New Leaf News had written an article about the reflection of Stranger Things.
Hmm.
He's a younger dude like yourself, so he kind of had grown up with the series, and he ranked this season's from best to worst, and the worst season in his opinion too was season 5,
Hmm.
and which. If you're going to be wrapping up the story and you want your climax at the end, fucking make it worth it, dude. Like there's no acceptable reason why season 5 should be ranked number 5 out of 5 seasons in anyone's list. I
Hmm.
mean, if it's not number 1, that's fine. Like if you like, the first season where they're putting things together or whatever,
The
that's
build up.
completely acceptable. But to have it the worst season of the entire series to, and the hype behind it, unacceptable, man. And we like we watched it. We watched it at about 9:30, so we got done about 11:30, right? A half hour before midnight. And the girlfriend and I were just looking at each other like, "That's it." Like, okay, our the show was done, and we were both like uneasy because we're like, it kind of sucked. Like, is it okay to say that it sucked? Like, I went online right away to see if like what people were talking about, and it was, not to say it was a 50-50 split, but it seemed like as many good comments as I saw was, a lot of poop emojis.
Hmm. My thing when it comes to, excuse me, my big thing when it comes to like shows and reactions and stuff like that, I'm one of those where if if insert random name doesn't like it, I don't care. Do I like it? Yes or no?
Right.
Because I've had, I've given out plenty of like movie recommendations to some of my friends who they hold themselves in a high regard for, amazing movies XYZ, and they're like, Lawson, that movie was like mid, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck if you think it's mid, I love it,
Right.
so
Right.
I don't know. My whole thing was it was built up, and it didn't like, to put it into, like, it just kept, the series itself kept building, 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 and then it peaked, and then it didn't go back
Yeah.
down until like the last 10 minutes,
Yeah.
just to cool
Yeah.
off.
I mean, like I said, dude, like the last 2 episodes. I mean, it's chapter 7 of season 5 on IMBD had the lowest rating in the entire series.
Yeah.
And then I'm curious on what the final finale will be because if you have back-to-back lowest episodes of the series to end it, like what the fuck, man? Like you literally wasted everyone's time for season 5. And again, like you said, my opinion is my opinion,
Yeah.
and you may not fucking care, other people may not fucking care, but like I just want to put it out there that like I feel like there's a lot of people that feel like me.
Hmm.
And a lot of people, I think there, because there's been studies done of, whether it's movies, TV shows, or books, that a lot of people won't say, if they read a book, they won't tell you that it's terrible because subconsciously you don't want to
Waste your
admit
time.
that you wasted your time on
Uh-huh.
something. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people will criticize things, that they've seen or read or whatever. And this, I feel like it fell so flat that, you know, I not that I would be hesitant to watch another Duffer Brothers thing because again, I enjoyed the series in general, but the way it ended, man, it has a very sour taste in my mouth.
I just wish there would have been a little bit more shock value. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
like for every episode of like the last season, it was like, oh, of course that happened. Of course that
Hmm.
happened. Of course that
Yeah.
happened. Right.
Right. Yeah,
That's my
and
big thing.
and when it's so predictable, like I mean, the only person that didn't that other than L that died was that Kali, and no one fucking cares about her. Like literally, she was in like 5 episodes. Like, who fucking cares? Like,
Yeah. That.
you didn't get emotionally attached to this person. You didn't get emotionally attached like you did Hopper or you did, some people for Will or Max or, these people that went through these traumatic things. Like, you're
Mhm.
talking about a fucking girl that was there not even half the time. She has special powers and she was trying to fucking sabotage the whole thing. Who
Yeah,
cares?
I don't know when you plan as a creator or director, when you plan a character's death, the majority of it has to be how do I get my audience emotionally attached to said character,
Hmm.
to where it's like,
Absolutely.
oh, they died, oh no, as opposed to,
Yeah.
oh well, oh well,
Yeah. Whatever.
not gonna bother me.
Like, get it out of the way if you need to.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I'm glad we got to discuss this a little bit because it's
Eating.
been itching on my chest
Yeah.
for now, a couple days. But
Mhm.
we were just so disappointed, man. Like, we were just like, dude, we invested all this time and we
And
didn't care. Like, at least I told the girlfriend, I go, I hope they all die. Like, and she's like, you can't say that. I go, there's nothing out after it. Like, just have it fucking like crazy. Like, have Vecna fucking take over the world. Like, it doesn't matter.
entering the last episode, I thought that was a possibility. I'm like, okay, what if they all get to the end and Vecna just 1v6s everybody?
Yeah.
Like, you get pieced, you get pieced, you get pieced.
Huh?
11, you're dope, but get like torn in half
Yeah.
or
And
something.
like, it doesn't really make sense when but it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't really make sense because what I'm gonna say, after Vecna's dead and they go and they tear the children out, of the walls and being, having the having to suck on Vecna's veins or vines. Um, I think that would have been more dramatic if it was the main kids. I know Vecna goes for younger kids. That sounds weird, but because their minds are weak. But wouldn't it have been a little bit more dramatic if they were ripping out Max and ripping out Lucas and like saving them somehow instead of these random children that were, again, barely in the series, that again, you don't have any emotional attachment except for dipshit Derek because he's hilarious and he tells people to suck his fat one
Yeah.
and shit like that. Other than that, I don't care about these kids that didn't have any lines in this series or where they came from or what. Like, if that's supposed to be the tear jerking moment or like part of it, you lost a lot of people because they're not emotionally invested in these characters. Holly, maybe yes, because she's related to Nancy and Mike, and she was more of the focus. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was just to me just a once again, I'm not leaving with a sour taste in my mouth. I'm like, oh, well, it happened. It's exactly
Mhm.
that's exactly how, like, if you have good ending, in between ending, bad ending, it was just a good ending. Like it was,
Right.
everybody lived for the most part, and hear ye.
Yeah, and that might be because like I'm more of a I think a creative person. Um, and but yeah, it's sometimes it's like I'm really happy about endings, but then others I'm like, man, I would have wrote that so much differently. Like
Mhm.
you could have had all the episodes up to the eighth one. Let me rewrite the eighth one.
Yeah.
And you know,
Mm-hmm.
it'll be a
But
little bit more suspenseful than just 11 dying, her telling Mike that she loves him, and then they graduate.
I think overall, I'd give for the entirety of the series, I'd give it like a 7.5.
Yeah,
It's good.
6, 7, 8.
6, 7, 8.
Yeah, but no, like I said, I think it's up there. As far as with the Breaking Bads, the The Wire, the what's it called? Boardwalk Empire, Sopranos, Game of Thrones. I think it's in that category. I think
Mm,
it could have separated itself with a better ending.
yeah, 100%.
But anyway, um, another thing's coming to an end soon, and that is the college football season.
Mm-hmm.
We have 4 teams remaining, correct?
We're
We
down to
have
4.
the University of the Miami, the U.
The U.
Uh, we have Ole Miss, Eli Manning's alma mater. We have Indiana, representing the Big Ten, and well, Indiana, and Oregon, representing the Big Ten, which them two have, or Indiana, has Indiana ever won a one? No, yeah, Indiana's never won a national championship. Oregon's never won a national championship. Ole Miss hasn't since like 1960 something. And then the U, it's been over 20 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a unfamiliar place without, or an unfamiliar feeling without Alabama, without Georgia, without Clemson, without Ohio State,
Mm-hmm.
without Michigan. Are you excited? Do you like this? Do you not like this? Um, you know,
I love it.
how are your feels?
I love it. The amount of this to me feels more NFL than like by week 6 in previous years, we know who the best 2, 3, 4 teams are. We know.
Mhm.
And it genuinely took because there was genuine discussion who should get it, Miami or Notre Dame, and I'm so happy that the committee went with Miami because they have elite players in the trenches on both sides of the ball, and going against Ohio State, I didn't I when the betting odds came out and Ohio State was a 9.5 point favorite, I'm like, that just seems like too much because Miami's got
Yeah.
a lot of talent, especially on the defensive line, and I think that there's a good chance that their game with Ole Miss is extremely close. But I want to just tip my cap to Trinidad Chambliss last night. He was that might be one of the best performances I've seen in a long time. Going up against that Georgia defense that has been monstrous since Kirby Smart's been there. From down 9 to up 10 in the fourth and needing a game-winning drive, like there were plays where he looked dead to rights, scramble back 15 yards, cut back, roll left, and flick it up ahead for a first down. And doing that against that defense on that stage, and I don't know. I think that, and me and some friends who we were watching the game last night, about midway through the fourth quarter, I'm like, it would be really funny if Ole Miss were to win the national championship. And one of my buddies asked, would Lane Kiffin get a ring? And I said, if I was the athletic, I would love the athletic director. If Lane Kiffin asked for a ring, spit in his fucking face. Like you. What I saw a clip on Twitter earlier today, and it's probably a clip from one of the first couple episodes of from Family Guy, and and Peter and Lois are trying to get this timeshare, and then to get this boat, and then the salesman is like, you can get the boat or the mystery box, and then Lois is like, are you kidding? We'll take the boat, and Peter's like, hey, hang on, Lois, a boat's a boat, but the mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat. And
Yeah.
and that's what Lane Kiffin did. Is like, I have this championship level team, but I'm gonna go and take the mystery box that is whatever is left of LSU, and it's just
And have Quagmire drive the boat right next to him home.
for
Yeah.
real. And the fact that like Charlie Weiss called an excellent game plan. Ole Miss's defense did just enough. They got timely stops when needed. There were a couple plays and flags late that did and that were and weren't called that benefited Georgia. But another thing, that Ole Miss kicker, I cannot remember his name off the top of my head. He won him and I feel like Chambliss in that game, they rose their draft stock. What do you mean raising a draft stock of a kicker? Well, he made a 55 and a 56-yard field goal to, in the first quarter. I'm like, long distance kicks, especially in college, they're more of a we gonna see.
Ask the Raiders and 49ers how drafting a kicker in the first 3 rounds go.
Or
So
Ohio State would love to have, a B staff kicker.
yeah. So if Ole Miss happens to win this championship, I would encourage all Ole Miss fans and the university to DoorDash Lane Kiffin some onion rings and just, as like everyone and like have it delivering over and over and over to a point where it's annoying and there's onion rings all over his yard. Because yeah, that how are you going to leave the program that you built? LSU, great opportunity, but like, dude, you can win a national championship this year and continue that success in the future. I am probably rooting for the U. I am a fan of Miami. But um, you know, any four of these teams, I'm okay with winning. I mean, Indiana, it's crazy that Bob Knight's probably still throwing chairs and he's somehow coaching the football team to the number one team in the country. Um, Oregon is the most shocking non-national championship in their school history, probably of any program in the country. Like you think of Oregon, you think of the crazy Nike deal with their uniforms. You think of the duck on all the ESPN and Sports Center commercials. You think of Heisman winners like Joey Harrington or Marcus Mariota when he had a great year there, and yet no national championships. Kind of crazy. So, with all this being said, I hate the transfer portal. Um, I'm okay with NIL. NIL, let's face it, NIL has been a thing, or players getting paid under the table has been a thing since, sliced bread.
Mm-hmm.
The problem that I do have with college football is that you can enter the transfer portal after every single season. And I think with the NIL deals, I think they need to implement some kind of contractual obligation for these players to at least, you can sign 1 to 4 year deals. And if you leave, you execute your right to not accept that NIL deal from that school. It has to be I feel like there should be contracts in place. I mean, I know that there's one player out there that is trying to, I forget who and where he plays and even what position he plays, but he's trying to enter like his 6th or 7th year. Dude, this isn't Van Wilder. You don't have, he's entering transfer portal so he can play again for like I think his third or fourth school. You don't get a golf cart around campus. You don't have your own personal secretary. You're a student, dude. Fucking don't play college football for 7 years. You know, especially when you're doing 4 different schools. But the thing that I do like is that with the NIL money, and this has nothing to do with the transfer portal because I think if the transfer portal went away, I think it would still be the same operations. Um, there's more parity in college football now. Like you said, the years ago by week 6, you know who the top 5 teams are. Now it's the playing field's evening out. You're seeing guys like Mark Cuban, where I don't know where he went to college, but I know he's now a booster for NIL, and guys that went to these schools I think he may have went to Ole Miss. I'm not sure. But um, you see these guys go to their alma maters and support them and try to bring a winning program to their school, which is cool. I'm cool with that. And I think it levels out the playing field. I just think they need some more rules with the transfer portal.
Yeah, the NIL has made it, semi the Wild Wild West. I believed that it was good because college athletes, the fact that they weren't getting paid for so long legally, it was such just like a, well, these schools are making millions upon millions of dollars off names, likeness, things like that. But I don't know. My thing with the transfer portal also is, oh well, I'm not getting an opportunity or rise to shine here. I'm gonna go and maybe go try and go to a school on the same level, or it's really interesting because certain, not to compare transfer portal to coaching, but certain coaches that want to be, they can't always make a one-to-one lateral move. So
Yeah.
maybe as a player, you might need to go to a smaller school to get more of an opportunity to put yourself on tape and show improvement, and that you are the player that they recruited and signed.
I think what they could do is tier tier the colleges as kind of like they do in the video game, like as far as prestige. And you can't make lateral moves like you said. I feel like if you want an opportunity to play, you can go into the lower tier, whatever that is. Like if your Michigans, your Alabamas, your Texases, your USC's, your Notre Dames are tier 1, your LSU's, you can probably put a couple more teams in there. If you're at a tier 1 school and you're not getting playing time and you don't want you don't want to ride the bench, or you don't want to wait till that guy in front of you either goes to the NFL, graduates, whatever, then you go to the next tier, and the next tier may be Baylor, or enter your second tier schools, and you're like, okay, you can go play there. But I do think there needs to be some kind of obligation for these students, or these football players, because hey, let's face it, we're not here to play school, we're here to play football. So I think there needs to be a contractual obligation, so that like after each year you can't just be like, well, I'm out. Like it has to, you have to, like it's like you're taking someone else's scholarship, you're doing this and that and whatever. Just make it that you have to stay there for a year or two, instead of just being like, well, boo-hoo, I didn't get my playing time, or oh, my coach left. Like, dude, you wanted to go to school, like, you
I
know
feel I, I feel though, like, if your coach dips, I feel like that's more than a good enough reason for me
that
to,
should probably be null and void. That's probably a bad example.
yeah,
Bad example. If you
like
want to just jump from school to school to school, I feel like that's unacceptable. Like,
yeah,
come on, man.
like if I get recruited to Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin bounces, and I'm like, oh well, Lane Kiffin was like one of my main points of coming here, then like I just gotta fuck myself for a year, you know.
Right. No, I understand that. Yeah. But like I do believe like there should, I believe there should be a contract. I believe there should be obviously ways to void the contract if your coach leaves, or if there's a scandal, or name your XYZ as far as your outs on the contract, your way to void it. But at this point, college football is NFL light. We basically have free agency with the transfer portal.
Hmm.
Why, you're getting paid, why not have them act like professionals and commit for more than a year? I feel like it should be minimum 2, because when you're getting recruited too, it's not like you don't know the roster, and can't see the roster. So if you're a quarterback coming out of high school and you're behind Arch Manning, you're probably not going to go to Texas, right? Because if unless you have to stay there for 2 years, then you can learn under him, or like be in his presence while he's taking reps. And then when he moves on to the NFL, then it's your time to shine.
Hmm.
But with with kids just wanting to play right away and having the option to be like, okay, well, I started off at Macomb Community College, and now I'm the starting quarterback of Florida. But we went 6-6, so I'm gonna transfer over to Hawaii because I like to surf. I'm gonna play there for a year, go 3-9, and then I'm gonna transfer to Alabama. Like shit that just doesn't make sense to me. Like it
Yeah.
shouldn't be that easy, and it shouldn't be you know give some like put some responsibility on these fucking 18-year-old 19-year-old kids to sometimes in life you make the wrong decision. If you sign a contract for 2 years and you don't like it there, then you learn, right? You're not learning in the classroom because you're not fucking required to go anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I don't know. There are certain instances in which I'm. Here's another good example, like Nico Iamaleava when he was in Tennessee, and then he went to, I don't remember if it was the athletic director or his coach for more NIL, and they're like, hey dude, no, we signed you for this. This is how much you're gonna make, and then if you don't like it, tough shit. And then he transfers to UCLA,
Yeah.
and I don't know, the whole stigma around college football. That's why it's really interesting and going to be hard for these teams to maintain success. Like
Mhm.
Oregon this year, I think they led the country in touchdowns by via true freshmen. So it's like their team's going to be really good. They have the potential to be really good next year, but there's not a lot of time where where you have like the older Georgia or Alabama teams where they're just sitting there. It's the same guys for 2, 3, 4 years to where they all gelled together. Like
Yeah.
back in the day, the reason why it was so dominant is because Alabama's second string unit could beat could their second string unit could be a 10-11 win team by themselves,
Right.
and that's
And that's and that was the problem with college football
right.
then. Now the problem is like, dude, these kids are getting money and everyone knows it. And so like, if like Bryce Underwood, I think he entered the transfer portal and he's making like fucking like $10 million.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. Like you can't stay at Michigan. I'm not even a Michigan fan, but you can't stay at Michigan like for 10 fucking $1 million. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
you know,
It's
it's weird to me. Like I feel like there should be some kind of a commitment as far as they need to stay at least 2 years before they transfer, and then because that even eliminates like the guys that transfer like three, four, fucking 5 times because like make your eligibility only 4 years.
mhm.
If you want to tack on a year because they transferred, but limit it to like 2 transfers. Limit some stuff, dude. Like you just don't give these kids fucking free reign to do whatever the fuck they want and just being like, okay, well, that's what it is.
Yeah,
Uh,
the only times where I think eligibility should be extended is when it comes like injury. Like there
yeah.
was I think it was last year there was a tight end for Miami, and it was like his 8th year of eligibility, and it was a big story. And then I did some digging, and it's like, oh, he like broke his leg, tore an Achilles, tore his ACL. And I'm like, damn, dude, your body is built of condoms, brother, just tearing left and right. but and I remember because he scored a touchdown in like week 3, and a lot of people were like the 8th-year senior, and I'm like, that's fucking insane. But yeah, like to me that's
He's like 32 years old.
yeah, and then the memes start coming. It's like, bro, start playing players your own age. start,
Yeah,
you know, it's kind of like
exactly. It's
Tyler
like a
Shuck
senior
being the 20.
playing. It's a senior playing a sixth grader.
Yeah, it's kind of like Tyler Shuck, as a 26-year-old senior being, a 26-year-old, rookie last year or this
Right.
year for the
Oh,
Saints.
so with the 4 remaining teams, who do you
Mm.
who do you got winning it all?
It's gonna be really hard to knock off Indiana. Like
And that's crazy to say, man. Repeat that sentence because that is crazy to
it's
say.
gonna be damn hard for anyone to beat Indiana. The thing that Kurt Signetti has coached in this team, and you can tell really easily as to how physical teams are. Can they run on any situation, and do their DBs hit? And they can run on any situation, and all 11 guys all 11 guys on defense hit, from
Right.
corners, linebackers, DN, and Fernando Mendoza, for any question marks that he could have had entering, like, the playoff and the Big Ten championship. I don't have any more questions. Like, he made about he had 3 or 4 scrambles yesterday where nothing was up and down the field, and he just tucked it and ran. And he's not
Hmm.
sliding; he's leaning forward. And what that does, when you're 6'5", is that's an extra 3 yards just by leaning
Yeah.
forward and falling forward as opposed to sliding. And I don't know, is he a little nerdy? Absolutely. You know who loves nerds? Coaches and GMs. Like, that's why people fell in love with Kirk Cousins. They love Kirk Cousins, the person. The player, he just couldn't, sling it anymore. And even when you look now, he's kind of not resurgent. He hasn't, rebuilt his playing days and stuff like that. But would I be surprised if he was, in contention for like a starting job, potentially next year or wherever? No, because he's just a locker room guy. And Mendoza, it's really awesome to see how much his little to call it his little nerdy ass is like just loving it, because
Yeah.
he's got a lot of the Andrew Luck qualities where he could be the CEO of insert whatever thing, like super smart, high character guy. He just so happens to be 6'5" and love football. Like, example, Andrew Luck, could he have been coaching Stanford? No, he could have been running the school.
Yeah.
Like, they're just
Yeah.
they already,
He
huh?
he could have been the head of the engineering department or whatever.
Exactly. And I'm excited to see how he looks against Oregon, because Oregon's defense, what they showed. Now, I had some question marks with Texas Tech's offense, but Oregon is so young. I don't know if they're ready to seize it yet. With Dante Moore being only 20, I think he should go back to Oregon for another
Hmm.
year. But I don't see anybody shutting down. I genuinely think that it's Indiana's to lose. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
I think they've kind of separated themselves a little bit from the pack, but like I said, I'm gonna go with the U. But I'll basically be happy. I'll basically be happy if anyone but Ole Miss wins. Like I just like I'd rather have a Big Ten team win than Ole Miss,
You
and
don't
unless it's Michigan or Ohio State.
you don't think it'd be
But
you don't think it'd be cool to see Ole Miss win and stick it to Lane?
I mean, if I want to watch The Blind Side over again, you know. But I miss the days of them showing up to Ricky Rose house and giving his dad a tractor. Do you know the reference?
Absolutely not.
You never seen the movie Blue Chips?
I don't think so. No.
All right, so it's a basketball movie from the early '90s, and it has Shaq and Penny Hardaway in it.
Yeah.
And actually, this movie is the reason why the Orlando Magic drafted Penny Hardaway. Um, Little known fact, because Shaq
Oh.
was playing him with him in an empty gym, and he's like, "Dude, like you need to draft him." Um, so it's about 3 college kids that get recruited to where is it? It's Western Kentucky, maybe somewhere in there. And they are paid under the table. The coach was a clean coach, but he realized other programs were paying kids. So Shaquille O'Neal, what did he get? He got, I think he just got a bag full of money. Yeah, I think he got like 100 grand. Ricky Rowe, who was just some white dude that I don't think ever played um, in the NBA. His dad got a tractor for the farm,
Nice.
and Penny Hardaway's mom got a new house and a job in Chicago.
Awesome.
So,
Now I have to check it out.
yeah. And then the coach feels so guilty that after he beats his rival, he resigns and he admits that he had cheated the
Oh.
system, and but it's a good movie,
I'm checking
or
it
at
out.
least it's interesting. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
Do
So
to end on something NFL, are you just praying for a Lions loss to up the draft pick?
kind of. I mean, I was listening to the radio this morning as I was driving around, and you know, you get your fans that root for the Lions no matter what, and they
Yeah.
want them to win. And then you have people that want them to lose because of the draft pick and, you know, whatever. And me, dude, I don't care. Like, it just, whatever, dude. Like, I think they can get as low as 12 and as high as 18 for the draft pick. So, like, what real difference is that?
Hmm.
Um, you know, the main reason I would want them to lose is for the last place schedule for next year.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the thing that I'm most rooting for, I guess. But like, it just sucks because we had to lose against Ben Johnson and
And,
the
and
Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams painting his fingernails and shit. It's just weird.
and you already know that there's gonna be, like, Bears Twitter is just gonna be a nasty place.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
like if we lose to Baltimore on Sunday, Baltimore Twitter is gonna be mean. They're not gonna
right.
be nice.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, um, you know, I think both of our teams were probably gonna lose, so just parlay that together and make yourself a buck. Um,
I
but
I
yeah,
hope not.
Ravens Bears a little money line
I hope not.
parlay.
Um,
Um,
listen, all
but
we
yeah,
gotta
I
do
mean,
is get into the dance and let the chips fall where they may.
it can happen. All right, like so. Okay, would you? I guess would you rather for your Steelers? Would you rather have them win and lose the first playoff game or lose against Baltimore?
Fuck.
Because that's your options. I mean, I'm sorry to say it, but they
Fuck.
ain't gonna win a game.
Listen, I love our chances against anybody that's not the Buffalo Bills because Josh Allen can just put the cape on whenever the fuck he pleases. Um, I need I need another playoff appearance. I just if we don't make the playoffs in a year in which we, did all these win now moves, we made the playoffs last year with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. So we bring in Aaron because, for more stability, at the position, trade away Minka for Jalen Ramsey. And I loved Minka Fitzpatrick, and just do all these things, and we still miss out on the fucking playoffs. Oh, like I'm not gonna be happy on Monday. I'm not.
I know it'll be like the final episode of Stranger Things. But anyway,
Yeah, I'll just be
uh,
mad and grouchy the whole time.
exactly.
I'm gonna throw my
So,
hood on and pull. I'm gonna throw my hood on and pull my strings real tight. So it's almost like
you
this.
saw me on that dark Monday or whatever it was, where I was, you know, funeral dressed and all in black and had my Versace shades on, so you couldn't see my tears. But so anyway, so that might be you on Monday. But thank you for joining us here in the Legends Clubhouse. Over at New Leaf News' YouTube channel. We appreciate the support. Go hit that subscribe button. Go over to check out newleafnews.com/that network. Both of them take you to the same great site. We had a plunder of articles yesterday. You know, like I said, there's a couple Stranger Things articles out there. So if you're a fan, if you didn't like, if you liked, whatever, we cover the entire series and the final episode. And I think there actually an article just came out, another one about Stranger Things as far as their spinoffs. So if you love Stranger Things, you'll love New Leaf News because we covered it. Go over, check us out. If you are on any social media, which you probably are, go check us out. We are on Blue Sky, X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at New Leaf News across the board. Um, you'll be the first one to see when an article drops. So go follow that. We appreciate it. I am at Bobby Kaboose on I almost screwed up my own name on Instagram and on X. That is Lawson underscore 1226 on those two platforms. Hey, if you like podcasts, 64-Bit Legends Rumble is right around the corner. If you like wrestling and like podcasts, check us out at 64-Bit Legends. You'll be seeing our content soon. Our Rumble, I believe, is going to be February 7th, the day before the Super Bowl. So you got some time to prepare. But until next time, we will be back on Monday. We are live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Lawson, if you want to take us out, I'm good with my ramble.
Awesome. For New Leaf News and Legends Clubhouse, I am Lawson Turner, and that Right there, it's Bobby Kaboose, and we will see you, beautiful people, Monday afternoon at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We hope you enjoy the last regular season weekend of the NFL, and we'll see you back Monday. Until next time, peace.